Hey guys, welcome back. Tisha here, back with another Love and Marriage Huntsville review. Let me apologize for my tardiness, but I was living life today and we had the lights and game night, and I'm just now getting home. Speaking of, we did Secret Santa. Hey y'all, I'm gonna show y'all what I got. Well, one of the things, because my Secret Santa hooked me up. She gave me Amazon gift card, and she gave me some of my favorite candy, and she gave me a picture of herself and her family because I love them and they love me, especially her kids. And she gave me this. Now, y'all may not know this about me, but my two favorite animals are an elephant and the the best representation for me, which is a lion. So when I saw this, I got so excited. I actually squealed because I have one that I actually got from my brother before he passed. He's up here and I love him. But anyways, okay. Let me go ahead and do this review. So we begin the review with me being irritated because I'm telling you all now that Maurice and Kimmy, in my opinion, need to have a master's class because they have managed to pivot this talk about the DUI from the DUI to them being upset about the fact that Mel has spoken about the DUI. The fact they've shifted it like that, do a master's class. If Kimmy was supposedly with her husband, which is what she says later on in the episode, then why did we have an entire scene where you're sitting there and you're disappointed for his actions because you had to receive a call from him while he was in jail, but you were supposedly with him? So which is it? To me, kind of seems like she's covering up for him. Far as Marquez, Ken, and Trisha, all of them at this point should be embarrassed about how they acted at that party that was supposed to be for kids. They made the party about them and not their kids, and all of them at various points acted a fool. So let's get into the episode. So it picks up with Ken rubbing it in his well, I can't say his fiance because she's not his fiance, and Trisha's husband, whatever he is at this point, in his face that he is a parent to these kids. They are both in their own ways, in my opinion, you guys tell me yours, having their own penis measuring contest. Because I feel like Ken takes joy in Marquez being a deadbeat father. I personally feel like Ken is enjoying getting praises for being a provider and for showing up in all these ways, which is admirable. But are you doing it solely because you really legitimately care? Or is it a combination of not only do I care, but I'm going to be able to rub this in your face later? Because he doesn't need to say it as often as he does. Your actions speak louder than your words, and it doesn't need to be said. So he's telling Trisha to chill because Trisha's getting upset, but he's making comments as well. So we see Mel talk to Maurice and lets him know that she felt like his DUI was embarrassing and he was irresponsible, and she didn't feel like his response was appropriate. To her, it seemed like he was partying despite always presenting himself to be the level-headed one. She says, I lost my grandma to a drunk driver. And he's not trying to hear that because he doesn't want it to be said that he was a drunk driver. And he's not trying to have anybody come down on him because he is an attorney and he's always going to think from that standpoint first. So he wants to know if what she's saying, if she knows for herself. And she's like, no, it's what the police report says. He was like, okay, so you want to school me on something that didn't involve you and that you weren't there for. Why don't you tell me what it is that you think happened since you were there? And she's like, I wasn't there. And he points out how one of the things that he's noticed about Mel over the years is that Mel feels like she's omniscient, like she's all knowing, kind of to the point where she feels like she's a deity and she's not. He says that Mel, you don't know any information. He's pointing to her like that. Is Mel wrong for questioning him? Maybe to the extent that she has. But I do feel like it's reasonable for her to have questions, as the others have had questions at various points as well. He's the one who's doing like this and talking to her. He's defensive. Mel points it out, but he tries to switch it up and says that she's the problem. He doesn't like that she's speaking on something she knows nothing about. And he feels like, she's being aggressive, which she's not. I can't remember if that's the word that he says. Oh, attacking him is what he said. He says what I said about, Mel feeling like she knows all. Here's my thing. Regardless if he was found guilty or not, there is some truth to him being intoxicated. There's a reason why you were taken in, and there's a reason why your own brother wasn't defending you, and why your own brother said if he can't learn from this, then he doesn't know what else he can say. Because there obviously have been times where you've done this type of thing. So Mel's like, look, you don't want to listen to anything that I had to say, but I've listened to you over the years. She has. But he feels like Mel is attacking his character to his face and to his back because that's who she is. I do not think that's who she is, but I do feel like Mel is tired of them always acting like she's the only one with problems when they too have had problems. We have been talking about Mel and her situation since the season began, since the series began. And at some point, they have to bring more than the fake crap that they give us. One thing about these Scott's brothers is that they have a way with their words, and they're going to find a way to weasel out of the situation. So Kimmy comes back to the table, and he tells Kimmy and the rest of the people that Mel is attacking him and that she started to attack him by the things that she's saying. And she's like, no, I didn't. He was the one who started switching up his voice on me, which he did. Mel is like, I didn't say it. I'm going to go ahead and go. And then she ends up not coming because Kimmy says a little something. And Destiny says, I would expect for Kimmy to speak up to the situation, but she's just sitting back watching like a tennis match. He says that Mel is negative. That's what she does. She speaks about being peaceful, but she has this cloud of negativity around her. I feel like with everything that she has been through with this group, with the way that Tisha has now came out and said that all of you all, well, she didn't say all of you all, they were aware of the RP. The way Tisha said the boys have seen it, the things that have come out about you all knowing Ariane and things of that nature and hanging out with her. I think Mel has every reason to feel betrayed by this group of people. So him sitting there in confessional acting like Mel is being negative out of nowhere, it doesn't seem warranted to me. I feel like in real life, had it not been for the show, Mel wouldn't associate with any of these people, but she's there to film a show. Is she right in some of her things? No, she's not. But in this instance, she's asking you questions to your face the same way she tried to ask your wife before, but your wife didn't want to talk about it. So what else we got? We see Marquez is still on this give me some advice on how to be a good parent and cordial and whatever tour. And he's seeking advice from people, once again, that he doesn't know. His son comes over there, pulls him, is like, what are you doing, Dad? Like, what are you doing over there? Don't put yourself in this role. Don't make yourself seem like this person. Don't talk too much. He's like, son, yeah, you're right. Why is it that this 18-year-old boy seems to be more of a man than his father? Why did it take him to say those type of things rather than anyone else kind of shutting him down? Because everyone is kind of enjoying this show that's being put on. Next thing we see Ken, and in my opinion, he pulls Marquez to the side, or Quez, whatever his name is, Marquez, to flex on him. He presents it as he wants to clear the beef. But you sunning him isn't going to do that. You keep flexing and saying, like, this is my house and that's my woman and this is what I do and these are my kids that I do these things for, and all those things doesn't help. Unpopular opinion, Ken is whack. He's whack for doing it the way that he did it because he wanted to embarrass that man. He wanted to push his buttons on purpose. He wanted to intentionally do those things because if he really didn't want to do it, then he wouldn't have done it in front of the people and the camera crew. He could have easily went to another side of his house and had the conversation. Marquez, you whack. You're whack because you allowed another man to come in and take care of the children that you should have been taking care of. And because you're giving digs about Ken and how Ken can't have his own kids probably and all these other things. And Ken is whack because Ken basically wants a cookie for stepping in the way that he has. And he admittedly says that he throws shots at Marquez for all the things that he doesn't do. You're not helping the situation when these two people are trying to find common ground. These two people that in my mind still don't have it together. Marquez feels like his kids calling another man daddy is Trisha's fault. He feels like Ken owes him something. I don't think that the kids walk around all the time calling him dad. One instance at after school program or whatever is just that you haven't been in those kids long enough, in my opinion, in their life long enough for them to be calling you dad. And Trish, if you're not planning on being with this man for eternity, you need to let him go because you're doing a disservice to your daughter, especially. Ken says, you weren't there for her when her parents passed, and they're going back and forth. And the next thing you know, Trisha's over there and she's yelling asking him if he's inebriated. She's talking loud. And she says she came over there to be, kosher. But then you started running off out the mouth, Marquez, and yada go. And you do this all the effing time. And they're going back and forth with one another. She then says, I got the papers notarized the other day. So, let's take a shot to that. Even though he told her don't bring it up, Mel said not to bring it up. But she wanted to get a reaction out of him that if she did get one, we didn't see it. She then comes back to the table and all of the people at the table are telling her to calm down. Mel obviously doesn't see it for the girl because she tells her once again that she's a trigger and she didn't need to do all of that. And she talks about how there's got to be feelings there because you get triggered so easily when it comes to that man. And Trish is getting tired of all of them. It's a mess. End scene. We see Trish, Kimmy, and Tisha meet up to talk about that drive behind party. Tisha wants to know what happened. They tell her some of the things and how Trish got on Mel. And because of that, Tisha wants a redo. Trish apparently told Mel that she was about to slap her along with Marquez and some other people because they were getting on her nerves. She then tells the girls how Mel still cares about Martell because she was interrogating her and wanted to know information. She very much so, in my opinion, was doing that for other reasons. I think Mel is very much so building various cases, getting whatever information she needs to get, and showing that Martell was worse than they knew, and to catch her up in her lies. Y'all tell me what you think. Kimmy said her trying to see the house, to know if she saw the house and all that other stuff is not giving I don't care. It sounds like Mel cares. She said Mel then grilled her about the Maurice situation. I don't think she grilled her. I think she asked questions, and I think she was being a producer. Tisha didn't like her saying that he had on red lipstick. There's a difference between being concerned and being messy, according to Kimmy. There is. And she says Mel's flight in life, or plot in life, I don't remember what the word she said. Basically, her purpose in life is to figure out if everyone else is cheating. She doesn't need to figure it out. Your men have cheated on you all. Whether or not y'all wanted to be on camera, they've cheated. Your husband told on himself when he put out that picture of you all. Tisha says we agreed that if we had any issues with one another, that we would talk about it with each other. Kimmy says, my issue is that she didn't ask me. But Melody did ask you certain questions, and you responded that you had no comment to make and that the facts would come out. So what else was there for her to ask her when you shut her down? Kimmy says, you don't like it, Mel, when people make assumptions of you on social media, so you shouldn't do it yourself. Kimmy is a pick-me, and she often stands by her man, but I do agree with that. You can't say things and get mad when other people do those same things that you're saying you don't want done to you. Kimmy says that Mel asking is funny to her because her husband was with her. But Kimmy is lying because she told us that she woke up looking for him. If he was with you, then that means he should have been in the bed with you. Why did you need to get out of your house, get in the car and go drive to work and check on him to see if he was there? All of the Scotts are liars. I also don't like how we hear all this information about stuff that went on with Marceau and Martell and the arguing back and forth on what was exposed. And none of that is on the show. On to the Fletchers. They do some fencing. They talk about their 30th anniversary celebration. Nell doesn't want to have it. Originally, she says because of how much money she has been putting out for their son, who got arrested 3 times, and that she took a lot to bail him out those different times. His butt would have to stay in jail. Because why does he keep getting arrested? He's obviously not learning his lesson. Leave him in there. Chris feels like, it's not all on her, that he can pick up the slack, that she deserves, to have this celebration, and money shouldn't be holding them back because he can pick it up. He then says, is it about your mom? And she says her mom not being able to be there is something that bothers her. And he's like, you know what, maybe you need to release some things. Maybe you need to release some of that grief. So he's like, what about if we all go to, the gravesite and, visit her? And she don't want to have no part of it. Next thing you know, she's storming off saying she's tired of grieving and she doesn't want to talk about this no more. And she's tired of not being happy. It is a process by which it does not require all of that. And the fact that she is so, easily distraught by it shows to me that she hasn't even begun to tap in it because she doesn't want to talk about it at all. We see Trish and Marquez, I want them off my screen, meet up for ice cream, the 2 clowns, and to discuss the children again. We've seen these people meet up, 4 times now, and every time it's the same discussion. So the kids were supposed to come, but her daughter wasn't feeling well, supposedly, and her son didn't want to come. Marquez says, this is my first time being in the house. Last episode, she said, you've been in the house, you've been up in the room, all those other things. But now she's like, yeah, this was the first time we had a celebration there too. And this is the first time that Xavier graduated there for all of us and blah, blah, blah. He says he was uncomfortable at the house. She said, I could tell. He feels like they've been playing around now in his face and that they talk about him. She's trying to act like they don't talk about him unless he talks about them, but they're both talking about each other. Neither one of them are innocent in this situation, nor is Ken. She wants him to show up. He feels like she's trying to act like she did nothing wrong. He says that the kids' lifestyles wouldn't change regardless if Ken was there or not, because Ken keeps bringing up all the things that he's done and he kind of wants credit for it, but you can't ask credit. You can't seek credit for something when you weren't there. Trish says, yeah, it's because of us. It's because of me. I kept things going. And yeah, they would have been the same whether he was there or not. When she said that, even though I don't like Trish, I felt everything that she said in that moment because I'm a single mother too, right? And there are certain sacrifices as a single parent you make. So when I say that I understood exactly what she was saying when she was like, look, you're not going to sit here and try to take credit for the work that I've put in. Because some of these men love to sit there and take credit for stuff that's been going on in these kids' lives when they weren't involved. And that's what it is for her. He left her alone with her kids and she did what she had to do. she's over there talking, and he tells her that, she needs counseling. It was very much so a let me gaslight you type of situation and make it seem like you making this stuff up. So they go back and forth a little bit, and she tells him, like, at some point, we need to stop worrying about the past and our situation, and we need to focus on your relationship with these kids. She says, you still have time with your daughter. You need to focus more on your son because you don't have as much time with him. I'm guessing because he's older and because he's about to go off to college. So he says he's supposedly going to be bi-coastal. So he's going to stay wherever he's at in Atlanta, as well as get a place out there. If you can't even get gas money, then how is it that you going to come out there? Supposedly he has some type of music career. I need these grown men at some point to realize that if you can't make it in your music career, you need to find a regular 9-to-5 that's going to pay your bills until you get whatever it is you need out the music career. So she's like, look, I just want you to do better. I want you to pick up the phone. I want you to show up for them, send messages like you always do, and get to the point where we stop going backwards and we just move forward. End of that. Mel and Kimmy. So Mel and Kimmy meet because Kimmy's upset about what Mel has been saying. Kimmy lets her know, I asked to see you because you've been saying stuff. And Trish and Tisha fill me in on what you said. I don't like what you said about the lipstick. It was out of pocket. To be fair, she said some of the things she said to your husband as well. Mel says, yes, it's been on the internet and I asked Tisha about it. Kimmy's like, tell me what else you asked, because the arrest information is out there, but the other part and the stuff you were asking and saying, it wasn't friendly. You talked to me, Mel, but you never mentioned it. The implication was like, where has he been? I get it, but I don't, because the bottom line is whether Kimmy wants to open up her mouth and say it directly. When Kimmy was talking and Kimmy was asking him questions and wanted to know if he was hiding things from her, Kimmy was doing a roundabout way of wanting to know if he was cheating. But she's not going to come out and say that, because that's not what they do. These women are going to protect their men by any means, even if they are cheating, even if they've addressed it off camera. So Mel says, I didn't have that conversation with you, and I don't want to. I recall you telling me you're not going to talk about it, and when you said you didn't want to talk about the case, I backed off. I'm assuming you didn't want to say anything because it's an open case. Kimmy's like, that's true, but I'm kind of not feeling it. And she wants to know what exactly Mel said. And Mel's like, look, they already shared it with you. I don't need to say it. We don't got to go there. I wish that she would have said it, because Mel, you look like you're afraid of Kimmy by not saying it. Why couldn't you just say what you said? You play these games and it doesn't come off good. So, bottom line to me is Kimmy isn't feeling the allegations of him cheating. She's more concerned about that than she seems to even be about the DUI. She wants to know if Mel has any proof of what she alluded to. And Mel's like, I'm not about to, ask any questions. She said, Mel is a wordsmith. And now what Mel is doing is deflecting, which she is. She says, in your other friend groups, do you feel like Maurice is out there cheating? In other words, do you say that with other friends? And she says, it's not for me to answer. That's for Maurice to answer. She already said before she basically felt like those men were cheating, like the Scott brothers were cheating. Kimmy, you know this. Why are we acting like we don't? And there's no need for her to go down that route, because whatever she says, it would turn into Mel's hating, and that's why she's saying what she's saying. Kimmy tells us Mel needs to stop with the dumb stuff she does, that she needs to just say it, that Mel has talked about it so much that obviously she cares, that she wants to know if Mel has proof. Mel tells her to ask the other people who are saying the same things that she's saying. I can't stand up for Mel when Mel does stuff like that, because Mel, if you're going to say it, stand on it. Mel says women have intuition, and her asking me this instead of saying that she knows for a fact that, it's not true, speaks volumes. Kimmy doesn't want to be lumped into any groups with anybody else, and she wants her to come straight out and ask her if she has a problem. Mel says, as far as this whole thing is concerned, you don't got to worry about me saying anything else to anybody else about the lipstick situation. I'm done with it, and that's how it ends. Y'all let me know how you felt about this review. Sorry it was all over the place. If there's something that I missed that you want to talk about, feel free to put it down below. And for those of you who I will not see until after the holidays, happy holidays. I hope that you guys enjoy. See you next time.